Give everyone a moment to set up. Noisy crows this morning, aren't they? Is everyone fine?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, good morning Queensland and welcome to the Gabba. And today we have some really exciting news for Queenslanders. Of course, we know how important it is to secure the 2032 Brisbane Queensland Olympics, and now we've taken that next step. Yesterday, our Cabinet endorsed our formal proposal for the Olympics, and part of that formal proposal was looking at where we would host the opening and closing ceremonies. And the logical place is right here at the Gabba. What we're talking about today is transformational. It links in with the infrastructure, the transport infrastructure that we are building at the moment. Our government's investing $5.6 billion to build Queensland, Brisbane's brand new underground. What this proposal does is it actually links the Gabba with the Cross River Rail. We would actually build a brand new Gabba. It would be raised up. There'd be a pedestrian plaza that would link to our Cross River Rail. No more standing on the street corners with your families, trying to dodge the traffic around peak times. It would be easy access in and out. 3-minute journey from the Brisbane CBD to the Gabba, but also to this would be, the Gabba would continue to be the workhorse that it always has been. It is utilised around 40 times, 40 weekends of 40 times during the year, and we want to make sure that we extend that into the future. So we are now in the process of discussions with the federal government about the funding envelopes that we need for the venues and the transport. But we believe over the next 10 years it is very feasible to make sure that we deliver what is needed for the Games. I want to thank Populous. Populous are one of the leading Olympic architects, and they have great experience when it comes to building stadiums, and they have done the designs for this brand new Gabba. This is a game changer. It is honestly so exciting. Cabinet was blown away yesterday when we did the presentation, and today is the public's first look at this exciting transformational Gabba for the city, but also for the Olympics. So I'll hand over to the Minister, Sterling Hinchcliffe, to say a few words. We've got Chris here from Populous, the Deputy Premier and the Treasurer.
Thank you, Premier, and it is wonderful to be here at the Gabba. It was gazetted as a permanent cricket ground in 1895 and has been a fantastic part of this city's sporting history, and we know it'll be a great part of this city and this state's sporting future. That's why this decision to make the main stadium for our 2032 Olympic and Paralympic bid here at the Gabba is such an important one. It's a game changer in so many different ways, but particularly the way in which the stadium will be linked so effectively to high quality transport. Having Cross River Rail, even Brisbane Metro connected so well to this stadium will be a great delivery for the way in which our bid works, but most significantly for the way in which it'll be a great legacy into the future. Obviously, having a high quality stadium, not only here in the city with a 50,000 seat stadium with the rectangle basis at Suncorp, but having the Gabba at around 50,000 seats for our round field sports in primarily cricket and AFL will add to the suite of our stadia for the long term. As the Premier said, 42 weeks out of the year, on average, the Gabba is in use with high-level competition. It is a workhorse. There's no risk of this stadia and this upgrade becoming a white elephant, and that fits in with the new norms, the requirements that the IOC have for the nature of stadia development into the future for that special event that we want to be a part of. But it delivers a great legacy, a great use and a 365-day-a-year sort of facility with that concourse and plaza connection between Cross River Rail Station at the Gabba through to the stadium. This will be a game changer for the long term, a really exciting project, and I thank the whole of the government for their support for this proposal.
Chris?
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Minister. Populists are really excited to be part of this project, and I believe the legacy outcomes that the government have looked at is really, really important. It is about the Olympics, but the legacy outcome of this redevelopment will give the city a Tier 1 venue that it has needed for AFL and cricket, but importantly it'll link it out into the rest of the community around here, link it to Cross River Rail, and really start redeveloping this part of the city. So as the Minister's mentioned, it really is about a legacy outcome for the city. It won't be a white elephant in any way. It'll work fantastically for our key sports, for entertainment, and also for the community itself. So thank you.
DP and Treasurer?
Thank you, Premier. Well, getting the Olympics to Queensland is about 10 years of jobs for Queenslanders. Jobs delivering the Olympics, but also delivering the infrastructure that our growing city and region needs. We're already building the Cross River Rail, our new underground, completely changing the connectivity of the region, and now the prospect of redeveloping the iconic Gabba and connecting it to the brand new Gabba station, making it a fantastic venue, but also improving the ability of people to get here and get out of here. Just imagine being able to finish an event at Suncorp Stadium, already the world's best rectangular field, jump on a train at Roma Street. In a couple of minutes, you will be here at the Gabba, Queensland's the new iconic oval field, one of the world's best. I think the Premier and the Minister have done just a fantastic job, and of course thank you to Populous. We're very proud to have them based here in Brisbane.
125 years ago, almost to the day, the first modern Olympics were completed in Athens on the 15th of April 1896. That same year, the first sporting event was held here at the Gabba. It was a cricket game between members of Parliament and members of the media, and it was a draw. It was a tie, 61 runs each. Some say things haven't changed. I beg to differ. But what that means is for 125 years, it means for the history of the Olympics there has been a Gabba. For as long as there has been a modern Olympics, there has been the Gabba. And the Gabba, of course, is the home to great Queensland sporting achievement and great Queensland sporting folklore. We have the opportunity to set this stadium up for decades to come as a place of not just national sporting achievement, Queensland sporting achievement, but international sporting achievement. And that's what the Olympics means to Queensland. Securing the world's biggest and best sporting event will help us recover from COVID-19. It will be a sign of great confidence in our state as we recover from COVID-19. And it will create jobs for Queenslanders for a decade. So that is the opportunity that the Olympics presents. We've still got a long way to go, but this announcement today, it shows the commitment of the government to deliver economic recovery, to deliver jobs for Queenslanders, but also to put Queensland on the map for the entire world to see.
Thanks, Treasurer. And of course, this gives everybody hope. I mean, we've been through probably the worst year that many of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes. And the Olympics gives us something to look forward to. It means 130,000 jobs, but also too, all of Queensland can share in the Olympics. I mean, people come from all around Queensland to go to Suncorp, to go to Gabba, but also too, we want Queenslanders and small business to actually really benefit from any procurement as part of the Olympics as well. Happy to take a few questions.
How much will it cost, Premier, to do this?
We're working out those final details, but we would anticipate around the $1 billion mark. We have a proposal in with the federal government at the moment for venues and for transport. We have said very clearly that we need to share these funding costs, and I'll be having more to say about that over the coming days.
What would you be hoping that funding arrangement would look like in terms of split costs?
In terms of what we did for the Commonwealth Games, in terms of venues, it was a 50% share. But let me say this very clearly. We already have over 80% of our venues. We only need 7 new venues, and in fact, some of those venues are community-based venues in regions, which would mean a long-term legacy, like we did with Coomera. Yep.
Has the revamped Gabba plan been put to the IOC, and what was their reaction?
We have discussed this with John Coates. We were looking at a number of options. So there were 3 options on the table. There was a brand new Albion. Now the problem with Albion was that it is not connected to public transport. What is unique and what is brilliant about this proposal is it links in with the brand new Cross River Rail. You only have to look across the road to see the development that's happening, and we'll have more to show the public when we go underground very shortly to see the work that is happening underneath our city. The other option was Carrara on the Gold Coast, but this actually fitted with everything the government sees in terms of legacy, in terms of utilising an existing asset, which is the Gabba, and making sure that it can continue for the next 120 years.
How substantial will the refurb be? What actually changes to the Gabba?
It'll be completely redone. We looked at a number of options about whether or not you could remodel, but what we're going to see, Joel, is we're actually going to be lifting this stadium up. We are going to be making sure the pedestrian plaza goes over Main Street, and like I said, that means no more, holding your kids' hands, dodging the traffic. This is going to be a game changer. You'll be able to come into the venue easily and leave the venue easily.
So when you say you're completely redoing it, you're essentially demolishing the entire stand around the outside.
Yep, and there will not be a bad seat. There will not be a bad seat. Like when you go to Suncorp Stadium, you feel part of that action. You're going to absolutely feel like that.
So it's essentially a new stadium then, yes?
Sorry?
It's essentially a new stadium.
But it's existing. It's in terms of the Gabba is already here. We're actually going to be doing the whole remodelling here, connecting with the public transport and Cross River Rail.
Do you want this stadium to be seen around the country as the most high-tech, as the most modern?
We're looking at that terms. It'll be modern, it'll be high-tech, it'll be sustainable. It's very important. The Olympics places a lot of focus on sustainability. We'll be looking at all of that. But today is the day where we reveal what this Gabba Stadium could look like into the future. And don't forget, the Olympics are 2032. We've got a lot more planning to do in relation to our Olympics bid, but we're up against some timelines to get information to the IOC as quickly as possible, because at the moment we are the only people involved in the targeted dialogue. This is a once-in-a-generational opportunity. It'll set Queensland up for the future, for trade, for tourism, for many years to come. So it'll put Brisbane and Queensland firmly on the international global map.
Is all your paperwork into the IOC, and if not, when do you anticipate everything will be on there?
Yeah, Joel, that's a really good question. And in terms of the paperwork and everything that's needed for the IOC, usually these processes take years. Because we're in targeted dialogue, we have to condense those years of work into months. I have a dedicated team working 7 days a week, doing phone teleconferences with the IOC late into the night to get everything ready. So we've got some timelines. We need to get some information to the IOC by next Monday. So we're in deep conversations with the federal government at the moment, and then at the end of May.
Will there need to be any property resumptions for the Gabba rebuild?
Not to my knowledge, no. Not.
What's going to happen to the school?
Sorry?
What's going to happen?
Yeah, we're able to keep the school in terms of the historic buildings and everything, so that's been part of the plans as well.
How will teams like the Lions be compensated when the rebuild's happening?
Oh, look, that's a long way into the distance. We'll be working with all of the teams in relation to that, but we'll definitely find them an alternative place when the rebuild happens. And what is unique about the rebuild is at the moment we're building Cross River Rail, and then when Cross River Rail finishes, then we actually have the site there where the workers can then do the demolition and reconstruction of the Gabba. So the timing is perfect, and the fact that we are linking in with our big commitment to Cross River Rail, the new underground to the Gabba, makes sense. And once the Olympics are over, and I know the Treasurer is very interested in this, is that there'll be some commercial development around around the pedestrian plaza.
In terms of the turf, the hallowed turf, does that mean that's going for a while as well? You're actually raising that as well, or just the stadium?
That's my understanding, but I'll leave turf to experts in turf, if that's all right.
Time frame
Sorry?
in terms of when you look to start construction?
Yeah, well, Cross River Rail has to be finished first, and don't forget, I think the rebuild is about 4 years, so we'd need 4 years before 2032. You'd probably want to have 6 to 12 months to test everything out, so you're probably looking 5 years prior to 2032.
One question from me. Just in terms of the defamation laws, you've got those going through today or tomorrow through Carly. Why aren't the shield laws so important?
No, that is really important. The Attorney General is working on those. Yeah.
There is a journalist before the courts possibly facing jail. Why isn't it a priority like defamation?
I can't comment on that because there is a current court case, but the Attorney General has that as a priority, and she'll be bringing a cabinet submission very shortly.
Premier, the government's been very slow and thorough with laws in the past, like abortion, euthanasia, and two separate inquiries going on into consent now in the past 2 years. Can you explain why then the government's rushed through with these youth justice laws when frontline workers are saying these youth claims are done properly, and the laws that are before the Parliament at the moment could set youth justice back 10 years? What's the rush?
No, there's no rush. It's been through the committee process, and we promised Queenslanders that we would introduce these new laws, and that's exactly what we're doing. And the fact is, we actually insisted that they go through the committee, that they go through that process, so people have had the chance to actually have their views. All right, everyone.
Got to go.
Last one. Yeah, okay. We've got to go to Parliament. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thanks.
Sorry, was that? No.
Hold on.
Hang on one
We'll let the Premier come out.